for the Senate Republicans.
Okay, and next year in the gubernatorial race, will it be Andrew Cuomo versus Rudy Giuliani? Is that what you're...
Well, that would be a great ticket for the press, a very, very exciting race. Right now, it's uncertain if Rudy Giuliani is even going to run, but there is no doubt he's the only candidate of stature that the Republicans can field, who's a real possibility. On the Democratic side, the expectation is that it will be Andrew Cuomo, that he will either challenge Patterson in a primary, or if Governor Patterson decides not to run again, maybe because his approval ratings are so unbelievably low, then Cuomo will get the nomination by default. But one way or another, I think Cuomo is going to at least try to run for governor next year.
Unfortunately, identity or racial politics plays out in the Democratic Party. If Andrew Cuomo challenges David Patterson, it was Andrew Cuomo who challenged McCall a few years ago, does that create a big schism in the Democratic Party?
I don't think it does. I think it's conventional wisdom that it will, but I was around covering the 2002 race, and I didn't think it necessarily created that big of a schism. That now polls, and we have one out today from Quinnipiac, we had one a week or so ago from Siena College, showed that even amongst African-American voters, Cuomo is preferred over David Patterson, which is quite startling. And I think there's no question that if Rudy Giuliani's in the race, the polls show that Giuliani would more easily or would easily beat David Patterson. I think as a result of that, a lot of black voters do not want Rudy Giuliani to be the governor. I think they would look to Andrew Cuomo as the only guy who could stop Rudy Giuliani.
Right. On a lighter note with governors, I see Elliot Spitzer was on the Today Show. What's he all about now?
He's about trying to rehabilitate himself.
I mean, is that...
getting back into the public arena, which they love. It's difficult for anybody who's been at that level of public recognition to give it up.
He ended up, I thought before the Ashley Dupree thing came out, he had turned out to be a big disappointment, but he ended up being just a terrible governor and by extension a terrible person, though.
That's absolutely true. People keep focusing, I think, on the national press, especially on his indiscretion or his illegal activity, whatever you want to call it, with a prostitute. But as governor, he was a disaster, whether it was unnecessarily threatening to and steamroll the legislature or the misuse of the state police to try to destroy a political rival, Joe Bruno. Spitzer was an arrogant, insensitive, ineffective governor, and a massive disappointment for a guy who promised to be such a great reformer, and he turned out, even before the whole prostitution thing unfolded, he turned out to be an awful governor.
Mm-hmm. One last question. In the area of newspapers and so on, and every community is grappling with this fact of what happens in the news business, and papers going under or cutting back and so on. Our paper up here is closing its Albany bureau, I believe, later this month.
Yeah, what a shame. I read that.
Yeah, what is the future? I find myself, I read more of this stuff now online. I read you, obviously Liz Benjamin, whoever else writes things. So in a way I'm getting more exposure to this kind of content, but is that good or bad? I don't know.
Well, it's uncertain times for the print news business. There's no question about it. Many young reporters, are very worried about what their future is going to be. If I was just starting out, I'm not sure what I would do. I would stick with it. It's unclear what's going to happen. I think in the end, obviously, there'll be much more use of the internet and reliance on it, and hopefully newspapers will start charging for what they provide on the internet now for free, because we've got to get income. But I think hard copy newspapers will still be around. It's just that this is a time of great transition, and with the recession, so many advertisers have pulled out of the newspaper business that it's going to lead to consolidation and the death of papers. Even the Boston Globe the other day was being threatened with closure by the New York Times, which owns it. It's a very sad situation.
It is. Well, Mr. Dicker, thank you very much for calling, and it's an honor to have you on our show up here, and best of luck to everything down there.
And thank you, Mayor. Nice to have a conversation with you. Take care. Good luck.
All right, thank you. Bye now. All right, what a treat. Fred Dicker, state editor for the New York Post. What a coup for the hotline, huh? Is that a coup? I think it is. We're going to take a poll on that among the people in the studio audience. Everybody says it's a coup there. And he's a good talker, too. Nice guy, very insightful. And where else in Watertown Radio can you get that kind of insight on a talk show? Huh? Enough said. Enough ballyhooing of us there. But it was nice of him, and I want to thank the person who set it up for me. And, to take time out from a busy floral business to set up an interview with Fred Dicker. I won't say who the person is, but we thank them very much. And, in fact, I just got an accolade from somebody who said, good interview. Of course it was a good interview. I do this for a living every day. Good afternoon, Hotline.
Yeah, I'll give you your props on that.
You what?
I said, I'll give you your props on that.
Oh, that it was a good interview?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, yeah, and good to get him on there. That was real good, yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Ever heard that expression before?
Prop? No, I never have.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it's
I like kudos, accolades, whatever else you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Duff. I appreciate it. Glad you listened.
Yeah.
All right, I got to run.
Bye.
Thanks. And that just about wraps up our history-making show today. And thanks again to Mr. Dicker from the New York Post for calling in. We loved it. It's a great thing. Okay? All right. That's our show for today. Back tomorrow, same time, same channel. This has been The Hotline. You've been listening to it on a community broadcaster station, WATN, Watertown, New York. The time, of course, 1 o'clock. ABC News is next. You have a good day and drive carefully.
From